Awesome. Thank you again, Courtney, and wonderful to speak on the stage, practice public speaking. So we're now in the third and final section of our meeting, evaluations, where we have evaluators who will be evaluating our prepared speeches. We will also have the reports from our 3 reporter roles, and I will also be giving my evaluation of the entire meeting as a whole. But before we get into all of that, I would like to call on our first and only evaluator for today, Justin Hurd, who is evaluating Soren Pitturi's speech.
Thank you so much, Tricia. So I will be evaluating Soren's speech. And first of all, Soren, good job on your speech. I really did enjoy it, and I definitely gained a couple things from it, especially about your own perspective, which I think is incredibly useful, and was a feeling about your communication style. So a couple of things that I think are good, and a couple of things I think that need some improvement. The first good thing is I like the line where you said, we need to look back and understand our lives are not linear. That was a very good line, and it was delivered perfectly. I think it was probably your best delivered line of the whole speech. And I really liked how you came into that. And one thing I would say improve on is in the beginning of the speech, you said, I'm talking about commitment. And in my view, instead of saying what you're talking about, I would just talk about it. It saves time, and I think it serves as a better intro and a better hook if you can have some mystery to the speech itself and a little bit of suspense on what that means. And it can be resolved rather quickly, but you just kind of lay it out. It's less dramatic, maybe is what I'm looking for. The next thing I would say that's really good was your vocal variety. I thought that you really spoke well. Your speech was definitely delivered in a casual tone, but I've come to realize that that's your style. That's your communication style. And I think that it works for you, and it's where you feel most comfortable. So I would keep pursuing that. Something you could work on is slowing down. I think you were nervous. I couldn't see your body language, but I felt like you rushed over a lot of things and you had to keep going back and reworking sentences. So I think that could be resolved just by practicing more and really nailing it down, perhaps even recording yourself and then going back and listening to those recordings and seeing what that sounds like. And of course, for the speech objective, you did a good job of linking it back to communication styles and ensuring that that remained a topic of your speech. I do think the transition could have been a little smoother to make the connection, but the connection was there and it was done well. So good job, and I look forward to hearing future speeches.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes, thank you, Justin, for that very constructive evaluation of Soren's speech. And now I will first transition into my evaluation of the entire speech as a whole, and then I will call on our 3 reporter roles after that. So overall, I love today's meeting. Some slight hiccups. We are trying to strive to start on time, but given just some technical difficulties and some minor hiccups, we're still doing all right on time. So that's good. It's Courtney as our Toastmaster today. Very well done. I think honestly, this is your best one yet in terms of leading, in terms of being prepared, in terms of making sure that people know what they're doing, that roles are being covered. You're dressed professionally, which is always a bonus for Toastmaster, and really just setting the tone for the meeting. So great job there. For Nadia, she's not here, but this can go for anyone who will be a future table topics master, or for anyone who will be leading one of the main sections, is to be sure to introduce the section, whether or not the people in attendance are seasoned Toastmasters or if they're completely new. It's just a great way for, especially whether you've done the role before or not, just a great way to set the stage and also get that public speaking practice and laying out the groundwork for a section. So this is where I'll critique myself in my role of GE. So I did introduce Justin, which is always great, and any of the future evaluators, but I forgot to mention the timing for the speakers, in this case, Justin as our evaluator. And so this is also a critique to Nadia as Toastmaster of the section, to lay out, okay, this is how many minutes each speaker would have. So in the case of table topics, 1 to 2 minutes with a grace period. For evaluations, 2 to 3 minutes with grace periods of 15 seconds under 2 minutes and 30 seconds above 3 minutes. So that's just future. Keep in mind when you decide to take on a role. Now, as Toastmasters, we do have resources that lays the groundwork, but once it comes to like to a physical meeting and you're running the role, it can sometimes be a little bit forgetful. So always good to keep that in mind. Now, with regards to Soren's speech, really everything what Justin said, I had it tick marked right on my sheet. I think maybe it's just picky for me where you're defining commitment and then you used the forms of commitment in the definition to define a word. Typically you're using other words to define it, but that might just help make it clearer to and kind of just defining what commitment is. And then for Justin as evaluator, I liked how you brought up like your favorite line of the day. This is kind of taking a bit from the grammarian's role, but I think it's one that for future evaluations we can and maybe even should strive to do, just so that it helps the evaluator clue in more on someone's speech, and sometimes thinking about the way someone structures their speech that can provide valuable feedback and making sure that the content being delivered is clear to the ultimate audience, which is everyone who attends Toastmasters. With that, I believe that's it for my evaluation for the meeting. And so I will now call on each of our 3 reporter roles to give their report. So I'll first start with our grammarian, which was Adanna.
Hey guys, so there was 3 people who said the word a day, yay. Not necessarily a plethora of people. 4 people, oh snap, halfway, okay. Plethora of people, but it was a pretty decent amount than usual. I don't know if this is considered a grammar rule or it could be more of an all counter, but using the word so, I felt like it was used incorrectly sometimes. So I would, use for example instead of so to replace that word. And also run-on sentences, using and constantly just creates run-on sentences. Other than that, it was pretty good grammar.
Thank you, Adanna. And yes, that's certainly very valid for just grammar in general, and also ties in very well with the all counter report. So I'll have Slate give his all counter report to supplement.
Yes, I was the all counter for today's meeting. Start off with the order of our meeting. We had Soren's speech. Your word was definitely like. And they were all concentrated in the middle, which I found interesting. But they were all, you did use one where you quoted your friend. So that was okay. But the other 9 likes were just very quick, completely filler. And I think the best way is just to purposely practice your speech beforehand and maybe like take it in sections and, ask someone to make sure they watch you or record it, catch those filler words and try and just nail it down. It's the only way you get better is practice and just make sure you catch them, you know what your filler word is. And like is a pretty common one. And it's just, and it was you'd like say it so fast. It's almost like you didn't say it at all. So that's something. And I just said so myself. That's a filler word that Adanna just mentioned. Your only other one was you said one so likes and other than that, while I'm still on Soren, you did have 2 likes in your table topic as well. And then I'm going to move on to everyone else in the meeting. I believe Justin started off with okay, so that's not the worst way to start a table topic, but it could be done better. Courtney did say one that was unnecessary. Chaz, your filler word was as well. You had about 2 or 3 that were unnecessary. And then Tricia, you're pretty good, but I think it was on your own table topic, you said and then maybe an unnecessary so in your part-time table topics masters, we said. And then I was trying out there's this Toastmaster app, if you didn't know. I think I recommend this for all counters in the future. It's pretty fun, but I'm still learning. I was trying it for the first time. Just 1 second. I think Scott, I think you had a so as well. Not pulling it up right now. But everyone else, you guys didn't have any ones that I caught myself. But in terms of prepared speeches, it was and then table topics, the big one was and the classic filtered throughout. And again, like I said in the very beginning and just a second ago, the only way to catch it is during these all counter reports, know what your filler word is, because everyone has a singular clutch they tend to go to, whether it be if you need to work on your transitions from sentences and you're just using so and so or and over and over, or if you're just filling that gap of space. And so some ways you can do that, like I said, it's of course practice, but on top of that, try just simply pausing. A lot of times a very short pause is a lot better than a or a So that's one advice I can give for that. But thank you, Tricia. That's my report.
Thank you, Slate, and a good reminder to all of us. So just keeping in mind the words that we use to communicate. And finally, I will call on our timer for today. Scott, was everyone in time?
Yeah, Tricia. So when it comes to our only prepared speaker, Soren, Soren, your speech was definitely within the I believe the time range. It's 5 to 6 minutes. Is that right, you guys?
5 to 7, but yeah.
All right, gotcha. Well, in that case, Soren, your speech today was definitely within the 5-minute marker, so you meet the minimum marker. And everyone else into table topics were into time as well. Everyone hit the 1 minute to 2 minute marker. And that's everything on my end, and I will pass it back on to you guys.
All right, thank you, Scott, and thank you everyone for a wonderful meeting today. I would also like to give a special shout out to Nadia. Her PowerPoints are always very easy to use, and she had a plethora of questions and table topics for everyone to choose. So that's awesome. In the future, this is like I guess a mini public service announcement. If you know that you can't sign up for a role, but you did, or if something comes up last minute, definitely reach out in the group me. Honestly, this whole year, we've been really great about supporting each other and covering roles when needed. And so, but if you know in advance, that's really the main thing, just so that I know for being a Toastmaster before, it can sometimes be a little bit rough kind of getting things covered. But Courtney, again, you did wonderfully. With that being said, I feel like I had one more. Can't quite remember. Fillers. Oh, yes, fillers. So again, I think this kind of echoes what Slate's mentioned. So with anything in table topics or speeches, yes, having a pause, and even as like kind of like a key hack, if you want to take the first 10, 15, 20 seconds and just think on the question first, that's a great way of just having to, I guess, clear your thoughts and have that going on. The reason why I'm saying it now is just because I know it can be interview season. So that's another good trick if you're in an interview, if you need to take those 10, 15 seconds, think, and give your response. Other than that, thank you everyone for being here, and I will go ahead and pass the stage back to our Toastmaster of the day, Courtney. Oh wait, no, I did another major faux pas, asking for feedback in any of the roles. So whether you're a Toastmaster, whether you're a table topics master, whether you're a GE, always ask feedback on yourself for the role. And so at that, if you have any feedback for myself, I would greatly appreciate it. And now I will pass it back to Courtney.
Thanks, Tricia. So we have one more thing. So we'll just have everybody vote for the best evaluator. So if you want to send your votes to Slate for that, and I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to get. Well, actually, wait, there was just one evaluator.
Yeah.
So we have a winner. Never mind. Sorry. All right. Well, then I guess I will just say the same thing, echo what Tricia just said, that if you have any feedback for me at all, please shoot me some feedback in the chat box. And I will go ahead and assign roles, if that sounds good to everybody, for next week. Okay. I'm going to open this up. So next week is the 22nd. So we have lots of roles to fill. We can get some speakers here and definitely some reporter roles. So would anybody like to give a speech next week?
Can you put me down as a speaker, Courtney?
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so we got a speaker. So anybody else want to give a speech, or does anybody want to give an evaluation of a speech?
Can I be table topics? Am I allowed to do that if I plan on signing up as a member yet?
Actually, I do think, does she have to be a member for that? I
She
think
does. Do you plan on becoming it by then?
Yes, I think, but Tricia has to determine if I'm paying 20 or 40.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you the clear head to go ahead and sign up for that. Once you fill up the Google form, then I can double check on that amount for you.
Okay, I filled it out sometime. I already filled it out like
Okay.
even today, I think.
Okay, I'll let you know later this evening.
Okay.
awesome.
Where can I find the Google form?
Yeah,
Just
so
sign them.
I've just sent them to people individually who've asked before, but I can send it to you. You're already in the group me, right, Chaz?
Yes.
Yes, it's great to have you back again. I can directly send that information to you in the group me, actually email. I'll find you through like the UGA EDU system, so later tonight as well. And
Okay.
the process is just filling out a Google form, and then I register you with our club and then paying dues through PayPal. And then once you're there, you can go ahead and sign up for any of the roles. And then have you given your icebreaker speech before, Chaz? Because you can give your first speech for free.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I've given my icebreaker speech yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you tend to 1 or 2. But yeah, I'd really recommend doing your icebreaker next week, because that's the easiest one. Just as we, us officers that attended our training recently, the icebreaker is very simple. It's simply a chance to introduce yourself. So, if Courtney wants to elaborate.
Yeah, no, it's just a 4 to 6 minute speech, and you can talk about yourself. You can you can give a speech on something that you're interested in. And so, yeah, if you want to do that next week, I can definitely send you some more information. Were you interested in giving an icebreaker speech? If you're not ready, you could definitely take on one of our other roles, like a reporter role, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Would somebody mind just like sending me, or if like you guys just want to say it now, like can you guys kind of like just give me like a rundown of like the roles? Because honestly, like I was in Toastmasters like when I was like really young, so like I really don't remember like the duties of like the roles and stuff. So if somebody can just kind of give me like a refresher, that would be great.
Yeah, I can definitely send you information on all the roles. So I can just briefly tell you, like, so the Grammarian basically just, as Donna did today, they kind of look out for really good uses of grammar. The all counter, like Slate did today, they're just counting the ahs, so's, like any filler words that people use. And then our timer is going to time the individual sections. So like the speeches that are supposed to be 5 to 6 minutes, the timer will just keep a record of that and make sure that they're within their time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaz, if you have any question about any other roles, feel free to ask. We also have a document that can remind. We'll share the group me again. But yeah, how our meetings goes, the 3 sections, the prepared speeches, and then the leading is led by the Toastmaster of the day. This person that pretty much leads the meeting. That was Courtney today. There's the speakers for the meeting, and then like Tricia did today, the GE or general evaluator just evaluates the meeting in its entirety, as well as evaluating the evaluators. And there's the evaluators that will evaluate a specific speaker so they can pinpoint on their speech. And then there's the 3 reporter roles. And those are our roles.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And all right. So anybody else want to sign up for a role? Scott, were you interested in, were you going to be there next week?
Yeah. In fact, for next week, Courtney, I could maybe sign up as an evaluator. How's that sound, you guys?
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. And Justin, were you going to take on a role next week?
Sure, I can do I can do GE.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Courtney, I think I can be Toastmaster.
Oh, great. Yay. And Soren for Toastmaster. Okay, so that's everybody, I think. And I'll definitely send you that list of roles, Chaz. And then the link to this sign-up sheet is actually in the description section of our GroupMe. So you can just click on that link and then go in here and add yourself to whatever role that you want to fulfill next week.
Thank you.
And yeah, and with that, I will stop sharing my screen, and I just click to share again somehow, and there we go. Okay, well, thank you guys, and I will give it to our president, Slate Nation.
Thank you, Courtney. All right, I got 1 minute. Awesome meeting. Thank you, Nadia. Those table topics were awesome. I loved the little graphic of the people too she had on each of the slides. And I know how emergencies do happen. We mentioned do commit to a role the latest by Friday of each week, the day that you should be reminded by the Toastmaster of your upcoming role. But emergencies do happen. And if you can stick through it like Nadia did, go for it. But if you do get sick, that's life. But do give us a heads up if you can, so we can work around it. And overall, I think everyone did a great job. Just like Tricia said, Courtney, great job with Toastmaster. I love the professional attire and sending the agenda early in the day. Very good role model for future people that take on the role of Toastmaster. Past that, let me give the votes that I counted up before I forget. We have first place, Justin. Good job, Justin. I think you had some awesome topics today. You had 2, I believe, table topics. So congratulations, Justin. And then for second place, we actually have a tie. This happens sometimes. It's between Courtney and Chaz. So congratulations, both of you guys, second place.
Just a quick question, Tricia, did you send Slate mine? Because I missed.
Yes, you're all good.
I did get yours.
Okay, I feel really bad about that. So sorry.
All
Yeah, you're
good.
fine. Past that, it's 7 o'clock. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. But this was an awesome meeting. I really look forward to seeing everyone and hearing some icebreaker speeches, new speeches, and just having a good time. All right, that's meeting adjourned. I'll pass it to Tricia. Since she's still here, you can officially adjourn it.
Yeah, I will say just thank you everyone for coming like week after week. One thing I forgot to mention my evaluation. I love how Justin pointed of like noticing what Soren's speech style is, and that's certainly what we try to do in Toastmasters. Not necessarily recreate you into someone, unless that's your goal, but really to elevate what's already there, as we are a positive and supportive environment of those trying to improve their leadership, personal growth, all that jazz. So thank you everyone for being here. And if you would need to leave, feel welcome to, but I kind of want to hear what Soren has to say. Don't think I forgot.